Hey guys, Figure Therapy here today, and we're going to be talking about this, it doesn't really have a scale. It's a Figuarts Zero. It is by Bandai or Tamashii Nations. It is the supposedly Figuarts scale 1/12 Ereshikgal from Fate Grand Order Babylonia. So as you can see, the box is insanely big. I think it's a little too big for my liking. If you can see from the top, there's actually a ton of space in the front and the back, so it's kind of hard to fit the entire box in the frame. But I guess I can just pick up the camera and show you guys. But yeah, so there's the entire box. It is a very nice box. It is super cool in terms of just the lightning blue, because I think that is her Noble Phantasm. But yeah, so kind of a standard sort of window box situation. The top is kind of what caught me, because the top is actually the Babylonia logo. So if you play the game, each of the I'm forgetting the name right now, but each one of the main quests is has their own specific logo, which stands for the beast that they kill, I guess. So this one is Tiamat. So food for thought. There you go. And then I believe the box just has the same thing, which is very nice. So overall presentation, pretty nice. Now let's go ahead and crack her open. So let me break out my trusty knife. Now, in terms of quality, Figuarts is definitely one of the more, I guess, cheaper end stuff. If anybody's familiar with their Dragon Ball stuff, or just their actual articulated figure stuff, those are all pretty nice. I've never really seen, or personally never seen or gotten anything with a a QC issue. But then again, the quality to begin with is not as well done as Max Factory, or yeah, basically just Max Factory, because no one else really does 1/12 stealth besides the two companies. But yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop the box off somewhere else, just because it's a little too big for this area. The inside of the box is literally just a bunch of gold foil, so it's nothing too crazy. And this is the actual insert itself. Like I said, if you kind of notice, there's a big gap, so the box is a little bit unnecessarily big, but ultimately, as long as the figure gets protected, I don't really mind. In terms of Eresh figures that are on the market right now, there is the Aniplex one, which is very expensive, and then there is the Nendroid, which is very expensive. So this being kind of the newer, fresher one on the market, it is still relatively cheap right now. And also, there's the Ichiban Kuji one, which is somewhat expensive. So I think this will usually run you around $80 to $90, maybe even $100. Ooh, that is actually really nice. Okay, so initial thoughts. Before getting into initial thoughts, I should finish talking about the other offerings. As of right now, I think the Aniplex one is around $300 to $400. I know it's definitely above 300, $250. I want to say original MSRP was around $3. So yeah, and then the Ichiban Kuji one, which is basically a Banpresto one, is around the same price as this one, I believe. It's about $80 to $90 last time I checked, but it could have changed. Honestly, it's been a while, but due to the recent I think it's a Winter Hobby Show announcements, they also announced that Max Factory is going to be doing an Eresh. So Max Factory and QSQ, I think, is doing an QSQ, or Plum is doing an Eresh. And so those two companies doing an Eresh, one of them is based off of the animation style, and one of them is based off of the actual game style. So there is a difference, but yeah. So the difference, I believe, is in the eyes. But this figure itself, kind of getting out of the box, one thing I kind of noticed is it doesn't really stay on the stand all that well, but I think it's just because out of the box it wasn't pegged in all the way. So just going ahead and pegging her in. Ooh, that's a little sketchy. So as of right now, it's not, as you can see, there's a little bit of a gap, and every time I try to peg it in, it doesn't really want to stay in. So that is a little bit off-putting, that she doesn't really just want to stay on her base. I think it's just because the material and maybe heat makes it a little goofy. So over time, when it's out of the box, maybe it'll slowly come down to the correct level. But so far, it is not staying on there. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the details right here. So right here, the base is this really nice kind of just glossy standard plastic with the lettering Ereshikgal on it. And then starting from the feet, you can go ahead and see all these nice details. And then there's like this smoke coming out of her. But here's the funny thing is, I don't really remember seeing smoke in her Noble Phantasm. I just remember the blue lightning that she shoots out. But that's as far as I know. I haven't pulled her yet. Hopefully this year. But yeah, so there's that. A lot of nice smoke details, which is nice. It has a nice little like marbling effect. So some of the areas are painted in on the smoke, whereas some areas are just cloudy. And then overall, the paint on the figure is pretty good so far. The quality is a little bit wonky. I will say, if you notice right there, along her leg, there is some sort of like paint defect. Yeah, I think it's a paint defect. That's really weird, actually. Or it could be a mold defect, actually. So you see this line that runs across her thigh and down here. So what that possibly could be is when they mold it together, there could be air trapped in the mold, and then it basically makes it a little bit off. What I would do about that is, honestly, I would sand it, but I don't know if this material has been painted over. Usually if it's painted over, you'll end up damaging the figure, but if you're really careful with it, you might be able to fix that. Like I said, the QC on the Figuarts statues aren't as good as their regular stuff, I guess. Also, like, you can kind of tell on her coat, at least, like, this is a little weird there. So notice how there's that gold band, but they just basically like spray painted it gold, and then you can see a lot of the detail has been kind of like glossed over, which isn't that bad. I mean, you know, it's a cheaper end figure. Like, you can kind of see like those mold defects on the inside. So ultimately, she's not gonna be like your Aniplex. You know, your Aniplex is going to be perfect. This one is going to have some problems with it. But it is one of the more dynamic pose ones, because the Aniplex one is just based off of her her artwork. So it's kind of like whatever. But yeah, so go ahead and check out her face. Pretty cute. I mean, Aries is always like such a cute character. She's fun. She's a Rin face. Rin face. And then, yeah. Her hair is nice. The crown is also pretty nice. I feel like the hand is kind of in a weird position just because, you know, if she's pulling her arm back to grab this handle, it would kind of go a little farther. But that's just personal preference. Yeah, some of the details on here are a little bit gummy, but like not to the point where it looks like a knockoff. The bangs, actually right here, there's this funny part line that comes on the top. And it's kind of a little bit weird to see just right in your face. Actually, I chose my copy from my local shop, and they had another one which straight up had like a big chunk out of the hair taken out. So definitely, it's one of those things that you do have to be a little picky about, I guess, if you have the opportunity to do so. But yeah. And ultimately, oh yeah, that's what that looks like. Okay, so ultimately, she is pretty okay. I mean, to be honest, if you are only gonna get a one Eresh figure and your budget isn't like super crazy considering how much Eresh figures cost, I'd recommend this one just because it's under $100, or it should be under $100. Keep that in mind. Like, I'm not too sure about the market value on this particular piece right now, but honestly, I wouldn't pay anything over $100 because at that point you might as well just save up for the Aniplex one or any other incarnation that's coming out as of this time. So ultimately, that's pretty much it for this little quick unboxing / review. I hope you guys enjoyed, and that's all for today.